How low do interest rates go? How low do bond yields go globally? We continue to do this more.
In the minds of central bankers, it can go on forever. But the concept there's a linearity, a correlation between that you can just constantly take interest rate lower. I think we're getting very close to it in Germany. I think if I told you you had to pay 1% on your deposit account, I think you'll be screaming and you'll probably take your money out and put it under the pillow. So I think we are getting very close to the boundaries. It's probably 60, 70 basis points, so another 50 basis points in the case of Europe. But I think we have to understand this in a greater context. It is a disaster for the savings of the world, for the fund managers, for the pension funds. I mean, mathematically, most pension fund managers is bankrupt if we maintain these interest rates. There's no ability to invest. They are all seeking, private investment, off-balance sheet investment, non-market-to-market investment. We are creating a monster outside the public listed companies. In the public listed company, we increase the value. But remember, we have so much saving in the world that needs to be placed in assets that yield something in order to take care of our future liabilities. We are in a position now where we are really cutting ourselves short of the ability to manifest it. And secondly, in the case of Europe, think about all the countries that Danny had up on the chart. All of these countries are exporting capital every single day. In other words, they have a current account surplus, all of them, and they all have a capital that is going outside. The company makes money overseas, they keep the money overseas. What happened to the growth pile? What happened to the investment in Germany, in Liechtenstein, in Switzerland, Denmark, and others? Is that the money never comes back. Only the profit comes back, but not the full amount of the investment.
And so this leaves the situation you're describing leaves limited room for monetary policy to act. And therefore fiscal policy, you think, is about to have its day. Is about to step into the spotlight and to seize the spotlight. Where do you think this is going to happen? Is this going to be a European story with Christine Lagarde running the ECB?
So, the context here is that France is always putting against the 3%. I mean, Macron has paid dearly in terms of deficit to play to the vested interest in Paris. Italy, of course, is already exceeding the 3% mark rate. So Europe and the leading nation in Europe is already going that way. I think when we come into the budget season for all of the nations in Europe in September, October, November, you see a massive push to make some flexibility under the 3% Maastricht rules. It could be that anything that goes to infrastructure is not accounted for, or you can make it a structural deficit over the next 5 years to invest. Because the fact of the matter is Europe has underinvested, in particular Germany. We need infrastructure, we need Germany to pull along. So I think the fiscal push is coming exactly because monetary policy does not work. We are still staying inside the traditional sort of ways of thinking. And down the line we have an attack, as we talk about in the prior segment, about US going after Europe. The car industry is still out there as something they can go for. We saw Navarro already today again restating that Europe is still also an issue. So I think the number of factors here is that it will push the same direction, that there will be a policy response that is not monetary. It will first be a fiscal one, and then it will probably be an MMT where you basically go full in and let governments be financed by central banks.
Okay, so this seems like a big about face, and at the moment markets are not factoring in much inflation in the future, Steen. I've got a chart here which is 5-year inflation expectations in Europe and the US, but you see inflation coming partly because of the ascendancy of green politics. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so what we see now is a huge push. That means all of the green parties are polling and winning every single election that we see. And that is increasing the awareness of companies to be green in the way they conduct themselves. We've seen in bottled drinks, we've seen that we have moved from plastic, which you and I grew up with, to aluminium cans that are recyclable. One of the best performing companies in the US is Ball Corporation, which is an aluminum can company. We see that the cost structure of the shipping industry, IMO 2020, is coming into place. The airline industry is facing taxes for the first time on energy since the World War II. All of this marginal cost pressure is coming to the corporate sector.